This record, Made Through Ritual, was done primarily by the son of Jimmy Gray, who was my label partner. We started Blackfire Records in 1975. Jimmy Gray died in the 90s. His son is a producer, art curator, DJ. He sent me some tracks. He said, Plunky, listen to these tracks. Can you help? Can you do anything with these? I love the tracks. He sent me 25 or 30 tracks. All of the tracks were done with samples, exclusively with samples. He doesn't play an instrument. He's a DJ. He searches through crates, finds, but his sensibility is like his father. He's not doing tracks that sound like typical hip hop or R&B or funk. They sound like jazz records. I listened to them and then I treated them like compositions, not like tracks, like compositions. So, okay, you've written the composition, let me put some melodies to them. Then I will have musicians replay those tracks. We're not going to use any samples. We're going to have live musicians play those compositions, put my melodies on them, put my vocals, words, whatever is required to make them enhanced. And that's what we did to make this record. Jamal, there are 9 songs on this record. Jamal Gray, Jimmy Gray's son, did 7 of those tracks that were chosen for this record. Another young producer out of Atlanta, DJ Punisher, did one of the tracks, and another young producer from Richmond, B. Bosso, did the first track. And so I have these tracks from these young producers that I re-record. So I don't know if you sense the irony of this. Normally, you take somebody's record, you use samples to do records. I've taken samples to make a new record. I've gone from samples to real music as opposed to real music and samples. And so for me, there's a kind of irony. You can see I'm smiling. I so like that. And the irony of my original partner's son and my son, I have goosebumps talking about it. I mean, them coming around 50 years later to create this music and me recording on it, and now I'm releasing a jazz record because it's very much like for me, it's almost like a Blue Note record. It's got a cut or two like Ornette Coleman and Eric Dolphy, these kind of far out jazz musicians, but there's still some underlying funk to it. Almost every song, I could find a way to dance to it. It's called Made Through Ritual because I believe what it takes to create sometimes is a ritual, is a rite. It doesn't have to be religious, but a set of practices you go through to get yourself in a frame of mind so that you can feel inspired, so that you can be inspired. That might involve yoga or exercise or just warming up your instrument or whatever procedure you use. It becomes a ritual, a kind of a worship ceremony, even if it's not religious. This comes for me in African societies, the use of the drums and high energy to find a higher plane. There are some religious ceremonies in the Yoruba culture and other cultures, the Zulu culture, where you're playing the drums and chants and dancing, and it might go on for hours until somebody is so inspired that they feel like they have been infused with the spirit. Sometimes they refer to it as the spirit comes down and rides somebody while they dance or speak in tongues. Well, my original group, Juju, we would play like that for 2 or 3 or 4 hours every day, trying to learn this music, but trying to get to the point that we could be inspired. That was like a daily ritual for us to find this new level of creativity. So this is modern times. I don't do bembe's anymore. It's not like we play 4 hours of drumming to get there, but it is a process that it can sometimes take hours or days of working on a song or working on a track, working on the smallest part of it, of just working on a beat to get it to where it will make people inspired. And so that's the ritual that I'm talking about, the ritual that my young producers had to go through to get the tracks to me, and then me spending what my wife might call ungodly a number of hours at that computer, at the station, tweaking, remixing, reordering, just working days and days. I would say about 6 months, but that's what it took. And then after that 6 months of work, It has taken 2.5 years for Strut to get around to releasing it. It comes out July 11th. So sometimes it's a process. That's the ritual that I'm talking about. That whole process of start to finish is the ritual. This record was made through that kind of ritualizing.